Hey, Gary, can you hear me? You're my first one. Awesome. Loud and clear. I got my mic hooked up again, so I'm still getting this is only my second one, so I'm trying to get a feel for it all. Checking all my things here. I know it's kind of a commuting time for some people. Um, so I don't know who or how many people are going to jump on this one. And like I said, it's only my second one, so we'll see. I'm sure as time goes on, more and more people will jump on these things, but that's what they're for. Oh, you enjoyed the celebrity grave sites? Yeah, I want to do some more. That's the thing about living where I live. It's there's not a ton of celebrity graves in Louisiana. There are a few here and there. The next one I want to go see is uh, Jerry Lee Lewis. I've been wanting to go to his house and see all that anyway, even before he passed. And then uh, and then he passed in October, so I wanted to wait a little while to get because there's going to be a lot of people. When any celebrity dies, there's going to be a ton of people going to see those graves, and I don't want to be there when there's like a ton of people trying to do the same thing. So been talking to my dad. He wants to go with me on that one. So one of these days we're going to go at the Faraday, Louisiana, which is kind of like northeastish Louisiana, kind of right by Natchez and all that. And then we're going to go together and go do the house tour. Um, and his grave and all. He and all of his family, most of his family, are all buried there. So one of these days we're going to end up going there to do the Jerry Lee Lewis one, and then one of these days I want to go to Graceland again. So I'll definitely want to fill up my channel with a lot more celebrity stuff, celebrity graves, homes, you know, movie locations, all that stuff. It's just a matter of time and money and being able to go further out, because I'm in South Louisiana. There's a ton of stuff here, but there's a lot more obviously in, the surrounding states. And the further out I can go, the more I can do the cooler stuff. Although you guys don't seem to have a problem with all the cultural stuff I have down here in South Louisiana. So luckily I can fill up my channel with a lot of that stuff. Yeah, Jerry. Yeah, I'm sure you see. It sounds like you've seen it already. It's kind of like a fenced in, unassuming little graveyard. And his son, I guess, who passed a long time ago, is there, and his ex-wife or something like that. And but yeah, I saw it on somebody else's channel. But I want to go see it for sure. I definitely want to go visit it. Faraday is cool. I used to drive through there like once a month to do water quality sampling up in Faraday in the surrounding areas for my full time job. And so I would um, drive through in his house. It's not the house he. Uh, I think the house that you can go and look at. Well, there's one in Nashville, I think, or somewhere out there. But the one that's here in Louisiana, I don't know. I don't think it's the house he grew up in. I think it's the house that he bought for his mom, who I think still lives there. And so that's the one that's connected to the little drive-through convenience store, whatever it is. If you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, you'll see it on the blog one of these days. Yeah, it is. There's so much more outside of New Orleans. When I was in the military, it was like that. And people would ask me where I'm from, I'd say, South Louisiana, and they'd like, "Oh, New Orleans." I was like, "Yeah, New Orleans is great. It has everything to offer, but there's so much more outside of New Orleans, especially when you want to get into different cultures. Cajun culture and um, just real general, general Southern culture is more outside New Orleans than it is inside New Orleans. You know, New Orleans is like the typical stuff, the jazz, the Creole, nightlife, all that stuff. But there's so much more. And think about it, I've been doing this. I have 50 something videos now, and I've only done one or two, maybe two in New Orleans. You know, so there's so much more out there besides it. I'm not hating on New Orleans. I love it. You know, it's great, but it's not all that Louisiana has to offer. In fact, it could be its own state because New Orleans is so unique. You know, what New Orleans showcases and what it has is definitely its own thing that's in New Orleans, and you don't find too much of that outside New Orleans, if you know what I mean. Sorry if my voice is kind of raspy. I had a cold late last week, so I'm still kind of getting over that. So I don't know who's going to be jumping on this thing. It's 6:30 here Central Time, so there's probably people going to and from work. Let's see here. As I get to know this live stream software stuff, you'll see me toggling with it and all that stuff. So you got to forgive me as I learn it. Where you from again, Gary? Have you told me that before? Have you said in the last? Did you tell me before where you were from? I feel like a kid sitting right here. I have my laptop elevated so I don't have to, so it's not like looking up at me. Let's see if this works. That's a little bit better. Okay. So, okay, yeah. Maybe your name looked familiar. Maybe Gary looked, maybe there was a Jerry or something last time. Your name looked familiar. Yeah, North Carolina. I got family in Boone, in Asheville. And I think my cousin, well, my family who's all from South Louisiana, my uncle, he's well, he was for a while. He was a history professor at Appalachian State. He got his PhD down here at UL, University of Louisiana, and then he got a job at Appalachian State back in '94 or '5 or something like that. And then they've been there ever since. And my cousins, his three sons who are my cousins there, they all kind of spread out around North Carolina. One's in Raleigh now. I think one's still in Asheville, Boone area, and then I don't know where the third one is. To tell you the truth, I know he's in North Carolina somewhere, but yeah, it's nice meeting you though, Gary. Appreciate the you dropping by. Last time I only had about 5 or 6 people drop in, but this is only my second one. I've only been doing this for 6 months, so like I said, these things will grow and grow. So I'm assuming maybe one day in the future, when I have these, it'll be a ton of people probably. But I always remember the people who joined in and were part of it in the beginning. Like I still have my handful of people who were our first few subscribers, and this is, like I said, my second live stream. So the people who I talked to on these early live streams are the ones I'll definitely remember. So Greensboro, so that is that more? Well, it has to be. I mean, I guess Boone's about as west as you get in North Carolina, so it has to be more, obviously more eastern. But is that closer to the coast, or is that closer to South Carolina? Like, where's it? How's it oriented in the state? I know there's certain points. Like I know where Chapel Hill is. I know where Charlotte is, Raleigh, and then the Atlantic coast, obviously. If you're just coming in, guys, feel free to leave a comment on where you are and or what you're up to or whatever. This is the time to chat and catch up with you guys, and hopefully make some conversations with some of you guys who watch the videos all the time. West of Raleigh Center. Okay, yeah. Yeah. See, okay, I know the area. Yeah. One of these days I want to go see Chapel Hill for sure, just for UNC. To do all that. always been a big Michael Jordan fan too. So that's been a destination of mine for years now. So I heard it's nice up there too at Chapel Hill. I heard it's really nice. I've never been to Raleigh either. I mean, I haven't been to many parts of the state really. I've driven through it a couple times in on different highways and interstates and stuff. But Boone's really, when I went to go visit my uncles and cousins and stuff, they I pretty much only visited Boone. So Dean Dome, I guess that's basketball coach, obviously, right? Never heard of it put that way. Dean Smith. Is it really named after him now? Like, what's the official name of the Dean Dome or whatever? So like Dean Smith Arena now or something like that? So I'm drinking my cold remedy here. Trying to get my voice back. Oh, that's cool. Dean E. Smith. That's awesome. I mean, it should be. I mean, that guy did so much for that program, especially in the 70s and 80s and stuff. Or whenever he started. He started in the 70s? I just know he was there during the Jordan era. I don't know how new he was at that time. I was a young kid. I always loved UNC basketball. They're not even my team, but I've always loved and respected them because of that. The Dean Smith, Michael Jordan, all that, James Worthy time frame, and all that stuff. Even today, they're usually in the finals or close to it, and I always seem to root for them, unless they would play my team, which that you all got to they get to the Sweet 16. They lost last Friday to like not this past Friday, but the one before to Tennessee. Tennessee, yeah. So we don't make it that far too often. Not in basketball, not really in any sport. Women's softball is really good. They make it pretty far every year. Who else? What else? What else? That's really about it. There's some track athletes that have done pretty good. That's a smaller school. We're in the Sun Belt, Baseball program, they've made it to the World Series once. Almost made it again not too long ago. You saw Pistol Pete? Like you saw him play? That's awesome, man. There's so many. When I posted that blog, there's a lot of people. You see a lot of comments of people who got to see him play, and there's just so many people. Excuse me. Sorry. That left comments and said, excuse me, that they got to see him play. And I'm just, man, I'm so jealous of that, man, because he just, to see that guy play in person, like what an experience that must have been, especially at the Cow Palace in Baton Rouge. Just my dad was telling me, like, people used to, like standing room only at that place. That's how people, how many people flocked to see him play, like how much of a phenomenon he was. And I'd love to be a fly on a wall to see that, to see him play back then. That'd been so great. Even in the pros. The other day on YouTube, you can go on YouTube and Google or YouTube his first NBA game, which was on October 17th, 1970 in Atlanta. Because he played for Atlanta, and they played the Bucks against Oscar Robinson and either a rookie or second year, Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They're all in that game. It was a good one. and it was Pete's debut. He made his first shot that he ever attempted. Like it was a steal. He stole it. He stole it around the free throw line of the defending team. He trotted up court with the ball, did a little trickery, a little little juke or whatever, and he pulled up for like a 20-footer and nailed it. And the crowd just went crazy. It was awesome. And that was like his scoring debut, first shot he ever took, which is not a surprise coming from him. His shooting percentage and all that, but. He said you saw him playing Rally. Man, I've been cool. So Rally is NC State, right? Hey guys, if you're just jumping on, feel free to chime in or say where you're from or where you're watching from or whatever, or anything else you want to say. Neil Reynolds Coliseum. That's interesting. I like learning new things like that. I would have never known what their arena was called at NC State. I had two of my cousins, but the two cousins, well, there's like I said, I have three cousins out there from my aunt and uncle that live out in North Carolina, and two went to NC State. Well, maybe all three of them may have gone there. I don't remember. There's twins. Two of them are twins, and then there's a third one, a younger one. But the twins both went to NC State. Engineers. One's a civil engineer, another one was maybe mechanical engineer, I think. One's not even doing engineering. I think the one that got the mechanical engineering, I think if that's what he did, what got his degree in. He never even did it or never used it. He's running a bunch of car washes and doing pretty good with them. Those car washes that are popping up all over the place now. They're building another one. I counted the other day within I think a 1.5 2 mile stretch of one specific road. There's like 4 of those coming up all over the place. I don't know how they all succeed because there's so many of them. Talking about competition. Nice. Niece, nephew, and your brother. I'd love to go check it out and see that campus. I mean, everything I've seen in North Carolina is so nice already. I bet it'd be a nice campus. Appalachian State, man, that's a nice campus. It's just a small little college tucked in the mountain like that. It's unique. I love it. Little town next to it. It's almost like something you'd see in Colorado. That's what it feels like, It's kind of dark in here. It's raining right now. It started raining about an hour and a half ago. Otherwise, I'd have better lighting coming from those doors. But I didn't realize it's going to be so dark in here. I got my LED light right here in front of me. So you can at least see my face, but it's so dark behind me. I wonder if it looks like that to you guys. Yeah. Well, last time I went to Boone, it was in 2017 because my aunt passed, my uncle's wife, which is my dad's wife, my dad's sister, excuse me. And her funeral was in May, and it was freezing cold. It was beautiful. Like the sun was out and all that, but it was freezing cold. And down here in South Louisiana in May, it's sweltering. Never just, I mean, it doesn't dip below 78 degrees here in May, So it was freezing, like up on this beautiful hill. Couldn't tell you where it's at. Some cemetery up on a hill. There's nothing but hills out there. I'm sure that doesn't help, but beautiful area, like this beautiful, like hilly landscape where she's buried, and it's just a beautiful location. And like right next to this busy highway, and it was up on the hill. We're doing like the burial ceremony, whatever, and everybody's just freezing. It was super, super windy too. That's what made it so cold. Hey, Susie, I know your name. I think you and Darlene are my top 2 commenters, and also Johnny. There's Darlene. There's you. There's Johnny. I just met Gary for the first time. Yeah. How you doing, Susie? What you up to tonight? I was just saying it's rainy over here. It started raining about hour and a half, 2 hours ago. That's why my living room looks so dark. I didn't prepare for that because that lamp and that lamp are all I have in my living room because I don't usually need much lighting. So those French doors right there usually give me a lot more light. And watching YouTube, anything new? Are you binging on anything right now, or are you just flipping around, flipping the YouTube channel? I said it last time, but I like to promote my whatever you are, my mentors. My mentors, they don't know me, but other channels I like to watch. If you like my channel and the traveling and just day to day, vlogging, cool stuff. Days with Jordan the Lion, like DAZE, with Jordan the Lion and uh, Adam the Woo, like Adam the WOO. There's also Jacob the Carpetbagger, and there's also World of Micah, like MICH, however you spell Micah. Just a little plug for those guys. If you like my channel, you'll like them. They've been doing it way longer than me, so they have a way bigger channel than I do. Yeah, yeah, I like Jordan too. Jordan's the first one I ever saw. I think it was back in 2017. I know he started in 16 because that's what he talks about. I think I caught on to his channel back in like 20, it was either late 17 or 18 when I found his channel. And I've been watching it ever since. And it's almost like I've watched his channel grow. He's huge now. Oh, you follow all except for Micah? Gary? That's awesome. Have do you not follow Micah for a reason, or do you just never heard of him? Because Micah's good. I think Micah's channel is very similar to, in my eyes, he's very similar to Jacob the Carpetbagger. Kind of their personalities are kind of the same in a bit. But I follow Jordan the most. I just feel more of a kinship to him. I feel like our personalities are kind of the same, you know. Uh, hey, what's up, Brian? Yeah, everybody likes Jordan. Jordan's got a great personality. And they all do, but I just, like I said, I kind of feel a kinship to Jordan. I feel like I could, like with certain people, when you meet people and it's like, man, you feel like you've known them forever, and you feel like, man, I could spend time with that person and we wouldn't get tired of each other. Like I could go on a road trip with that person and it would be great. That's how I feel with Jordan. Like watching his videos, it's like, man, I could just hang out with that guy and not, like it wouldn't, it wouldn't get tired of him, or wouldn't get on my nerves type of thing. You know what I'm talking about? That's how I feel about Jordan and watching his travels and stuff. And that's why I created this channel, because of watching Jordan. And I was like, man, I want to do that with my own twist, with my own flavor, my own style. So Brian, you talking about oh, Gary, I'm sorry. You said you never. Oh, yeah. So there's Days with Jordan the Lion. There's Adam the Woo, WOO. There's Jacob the Carpetbagger, World of Micah, and did I get them all? That's the ones I'll watch. There's four of them, I think. Everybody's good here, Brian. It's quiet, as you can see. Don't have my kids. I only usually have my kids on every other weekend or so. Uh, it's always quiet here. What about on your side, Brian? Where you, Brian? Tell me where you're from again. Where you tuning in from? Yeah, Susie. Yeah, the cemeteries are great. Like I was saying earlier, when I first signed on, there's where Jordan. Well, I mean, when he first started in Hollywood, that's the pick. Fresh pickings out there. There's so much Hollywood out there. So lucky for him, he had a ton of stuff he could do right in the beginning. Celebrity this and that, movie locations, celebrity graves, homes. I love the celebrity homes. That's my thing. I love seeing that stuff in Hollywood. The graves kind of secondary to me. I'm not huge on the graves as much. I mean, I like seeing them; it's cool. But the celebrity homes, like in Beverly Hills and stuff like that, that's really what I liked a lot. Hey, Dad. And my dad's on you guys. My dad's giving me a lot of ideas. I've mentioned him in a couple videos. He's given me a lot of ideas and some good info for some of the vlogs I've done, more of the historical stuff. He's always having good ideas for things I should do uh, and all that. And he's here in Louisiana too. He's about an hour and a half away. Oh, you're in Raleigh, Brian? You're not far from Gary. Gary's in Greensboro, however you say it. Greensboro? Yeah, Gary, World of Micah. Yeah, they're all good. They all kind of, I'll say we all do the same things. But I was saying about Jordan a while ago, like, he doesn't live in Hollywood anymore. He moved to, I think, he doesn't say where he lives, but I think he's in Tennessee or something like that. Got to be Georgia or Tennessee. But he does this full time. He's been doing YouTube full time now since 2019, I think, 2018, 2019. So he gets to travel. He can fly and drive or whatever because that's all he does. So when I get to that point, it'd be great because I'll be able to do the same thing. So I'm kind of limited to this regional area for the most part, time and money, what those two things permit for me. But those guys, all of them do it full time because they've been doing it long enough. Their channel's big enough and they earn enough on YouTube to be able to do it full time. So those guys, with that comes more followers, more money, all that stuff. So I only have 1,000 subscribers so far, which is huge for me. But it's compared to some of those, I think Adam has like 600 something thousand. Jordan's around, he's close to 300,000. Those guys are around all that. Adam's been doing this for like 10, 12 years. He's like the he's like the godfather of travel blogs or the type of videos that we do. He's the one that started it. Uh, for what we know of today as a travel blog. Yeah, Susie, they are. The houses are great. I think it's because I just like nice houses. I like architecture and stuff like that. That's why I love doing like the plantations and stuff like that. Uh, if I see a cool house or cool architecture, historical or not, I love that stuff. Always have. Hey, Judy. Yeah, feel free to say where you guys are tuning in from or where you're writing from or hanging out at if any of you are on vacation in late March. Yeah, Brian. Yeah, you're right, man. The southern, and that's what I was saying earlier too. Living where I live, I'm pretty lucky. I've said it before. I think if I had a channel like this in like Montana or like some more desolate place, it'd be hard for me to make as many videos as I do at this rate. Because I usually try to do at least 2 videos a week. So I'm lucky that I live in a very cultural, historical part of the country where all this is outside my back door. Um, and I'm able to make a lot of different types of videos because a little bit of everything down here in South Louisiana. So, and Susie said hi to my dad. You'll see my dad on the vlogger too. He's gonna be on one. Like I said, when we go do the Jerry Lewis one, there's a couple that he and I have talked about. We discussed before. We're gonna be on some vlogs together for sure. I'll introduce you guys, put a face to the name. But he's got a lot of ideas. There's been a few already that he's mentioned that I've done. Uh, or that I plan to do. He's a good source of history. He's a history nut, so he loves that stuff. Loves it. I'm a history buff too, but not nearly as much as my dad. I don't think I'll ever get to that level. Like he's really into that stuff. I like history stuff, not just for the sake of it being historical. I like history stuff that is uh, like nostalgia, like not nostalgia, but I don't know if it's something that I'm interested in personally. Like if it has to do with a topic that's like interesting to me, and it doesn't have to be a certain thing like movies or music, or it can be anything. But I found that I guess it's everybody's like this, but if I find that it's something I'm interested in, then I really dive in and I know everything about it. But if it's not something I'm interested in, then it's almost like it I know nothing about it, and it's just the way I work. But yeah, Gary, him and Ja. Yeah. Well, a few people, a bunch of people actually have talked about how he has Jordan. Gary's talking about Jordan's dog Ja. It's a little Chihuahua dog, and I've had a few people tell me that if you had a dog on your channel would blow up. It's like, yeah, I do want to have a dog right now. It's just, man, time. I don't have the time for it. I mean, it'd be tough right now, but I will get one soon. I'm trying to get a house sooner than later. Then once I get a house, I'll get a dog and all that. And then after I get to that point, obviously I'll put my dogs on my channel, my dog on my channel. Oh yeah, Brian. Yeah, if I could do this full time, I mean, like I said, I got monetized in less than 6 months, which is pretty good. I wasn't expecting that. So I'm on a good pace right now, and I'm consistent. The values is getting better and better as I get more experience and all that stuff. Editing experience. Sorry, I mean, scratching my nose in front of you guys, but yeah, all that. I mean, I continually get better with the editing and the videoing and all that stuff. I'm working on getting a camera right now too. That's my next thing. I'm wanting this channel to pay for it. As best as I want my earnings from YouTube to get that camera because they're not cheap. So that's my first order of business. I'm doing it with my phone right now, which sometimes the phone makes great video, but at the same time, when you have a real professional camera, they can do things that a phone can't, and so just overall quality. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's with all the money I say all the money, the few dollars I've made so far. But as I start making more and more money, hopefully sooner than later, again, I'll get myself a camera, not to use my phone so much. Plus, there's sometimes I don't know if you guys have ever done this type of thing before, but whenever you're videoing a topic or a place or whatever, and there's a piece of information, it's like, oh man, I forgot this or whatever. If I'm using my phone to blog, I gotta get off of the app. I gotta open up the internet, turn airplane mode off, all that stuff. So now if I have a camera in the future, I can just have my phone handy on the side, and I can be like, oh, let me look it up real quick, and then I can turn it. So they all do that. Yeah, same here, Brian. I love old buildings. I like Mobile specifically. I mean, everywhere in the South, there's tons of old buildings. But I was in Mobile, a couple of times over the last few months, and there's so many old buildings there. And just looking at them, I'll wonder like what I could do a blog just on that if I could just figure out the history of it or hear about the history and all that. But I'm like that all the time with any cool old house. If it looks really really old or something mysterious about it, like I always want to know about it and the history of it. Indiana, Susie, that sounds familiar. I think I knew you were in Indiana. I think you said that last time. Oh, hey, Susie. Yeah. So, okay. So I'm hoping, man, hopefully this year, because I hadn't gone since 2020, but I want to go back up to Fairmount, Indiana for the James Dean Festival. It's always the last weekend of September. So I'm definitely obviously going to be blogging that. That'd probably be a 2-3 part vlog for sure, because I'm probably going to try to go for like a week. And then, or at least 3-4 days or so. But if I might do like a meetup there because I'll be doing those types of things. I'll make announcements and say, hey, I'll be doing a meetup, whatever. And plus, I don't know if you've ever been to that festival, but it's awesome. It's a great experience. In fact, I got a brick. I got a brick. It's right on that shelf up there. Well, you can't see it on here, but I got a brick from Fairmount High School where James Dean and um, Jim Davis went to high school. Jim Davis, the Garfield guy. They both went to that high school, same building and everything. They raised it. They told it. They tore it down just a few years ago. There's still when I went there in 2020. There's still some piles of rubble there. And I asked the guy, little kid, he's on a golf cart, kind of patrolling and watch because I guess he figured people were going to want to go in there. And it's like full of scrap metal and all that stuff. So it was dangerous. I asked the kid, I was like, man, is that are those bricks from the high school? He said, yeah. I was like, well, man, what's the chances I could get a couple? So he was real nice. And he just went over there and grabbed like 2 or 3 of them for me. I gave one to a friend. I gave one to this older lady I was talking to on the curb, basically. And so I got a brick from there. I want to get like a little tiny thing like a trophy thing to put on there, just to stick on there so people, conversation piece. Yeah, Brian, for sure. North Carolina, yeah, there's a lot out there. All that old Southern, yeah, that stuff there. There's a lot of stuff I want to see out there. Old plantation homes and all that stuff. Absolutely. Yeah, Dad, I know. Uh, I saw my dad and I were at my sister's house. We had a crawfish boil Saturday for my nephew's birthday party. My dad was there, and we've been talking about the Civil War reenactment that goes on in just kind of northish of Baton Rouge. And he brought it up, and it's like, yeah, we still need to do that. I was like, yeah, I know. And so he looked it up, and he's like, oh, yeah, it was today, so it was Saturday and Sunday. We'll probably just catch the next one, though. That's going to definitely be a vlog. That'd be a great one. That'd be a great vlog to do. The Civil War reenactment, and I'll just film the whole thing, or most of it, or a lot of it. I know you guys would love to see that. There'd probably be a big following for that for sure. Yeah, Susie, you should check it out. Fairmount's like how like on Back to the Future where he goes back to 1955 and it's like a dreamland. They're playing like Mr. Sandman, whatever it's called, Mr. Sandman, whatever. That's what it felt like when I went to Fairmount, because it's like going back in time. Like, and it's obvious. Like, and people there have said like they've kept it as close to original. It hadn't changed much. Like you go downtown, it feels like you're back in like 1955, basically, or whatever. And it's a small, small, small town. Like there's no way that's a city. It's definitely just a town, like a one road town. The rest is just residential. Loved it. I could have stayed there for a month. So peaceful. Nothing but cornfields. So if you can make it, go. Even if it's not during the festival, just go visit it. I got a bed and breakfast there in a farmhouse built in 1903. And it was so quaint. Like, so it was just surrounded by cornfields. I paid like $100 a night. I can't, that's the cheapest. I can't get that price for anything here except for a motel. Yeah, that I was mentioning earlier. I was talking about Uncle Mike and those guys in Boone, and Brian and Gary are both from. I don't know if Gary's still on here or not, but Gary's also he's from Greensboro. Yeah, Brian, Savannah for sure. I've heard a lot about Savannah, and actually on Jordan's channel, he's done some stuff there. I think is it Savannah where they did some of the Forrest Gump scenes? I could be wrong on that. Like where the town square was or whatever, where he's sitting on the bench. That's in Savannah, right? I think. Oh, cool. Brian with Appalachian State. Yeah. Oh, Brian, you might not have been signed on earlier when I was talking about that with Gary, but yeah, it was my uncle was he got his PhD. He's from South Louisiana, but he got his PhD and was a history professor at Appalachian State for years, for like close to 30 years, or 20 something years, and then retired probably about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago. He's still there though. He's still in Boone. Oh, awesome, Susie. Yeah. I drove from Louisiana. I drove from Lafayette, Louisiana to Fairmount when I did it in 2020, and it was about 14, 15 hours. I think I left at 8 in the morning, and I got there. Well, I stopped in that Graceland unexpectedly. That was 2 hours that I couldn't pass that up. But still got to my bed and breakfast like at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'll do it again. I want to drive again. It's a perfect drive out there. There's no traffic from here to Indiana. There's no traffic. You do something about this lighting in here. It's so dark. Yeah, I love road trips too, Susie. That's my thing. I would love, 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 love. If it never happens, it never happens. But if I am blessed enough for it to happen, to where I could do this full time, like really make that kind of money and just travel all the time, man, I would sign me up for that. I got spoiled for that in the military, just traveling all the time, and I was never in one place long. I'm always moving around, and I miss that stuff. Just getting on the open road and driving. I'd love to, and I plan on one day, however long it takes or whatever, whenever I have the time and money. But I do want to do a Route 66 vlog, like a multi-day, like just do the whole thing. The whole 2,000 miles or whatever it is from LA to Chicago, or whatever it is. Probably be a multi thing. Might be like a 5, 6 part vlog series for that. But I want to do that. Just get on Route 66 and go and just stop and see things and have some things planned, but then like do some things that are spontaneous. Oh yeah, thanks, Brian. Yeah, it really does. There's so much to see here. Like I said, this is probably one of the best states in the country, to be honest, to have a channel like mine. Because there's culture, there's celebrity stuff, there's Cajun. I live in the heart of Cajun country, so there's plenty of that. There's New Orleans with the whole jazz and Creole stuff, and New Orleans stuff and history, Civil War and all that. There's Civil War around where I'm at too. I mean, there's so much here. Beautiful houses, homes, plantation homes, just old Acadian homes, Cajun culture homes and stuff like that. There's so many things here. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, Susie. Route 66 is on the list for sure. Absolutely, 100%. Hey, Kay. You're born and raised in Lafayette? Okay, so now you live in Newburgh, Indiana. Never heard of Newburgh, Indiana. Oh, sorry, my phone's ringing here. Sorry. Small, quaint town on the Ohio River across from Kentucky. Oh, okay. So that's like south. My stepdad's from New Albany, Indiana. He grew up there. He talked about growing up as a kid. He'd always cross the river and go hang out in Louisville all the time. That's cool. And thanks for that. Thanks, Kay. Thanks for watching the channel. I really appreciate that. I always love to hear that. That's the best reward I get, is hearing that people love what they see. Because I'm sure everybody who does what I do, we're such hard critics on ourselves. It's sometimes I make a video and it's like I can't, I love it and I'm excited about it. And sometimes I make a video and it's like I don't want to even watch it because I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that one. And then some people will be like, "Oh, I love the channel." It's like, oh, okay, great. Yeah, Dad, Savannah and Charleston. Yeah, for sure. And you should come with me on some of those. Antebellum homes, music, Southern culture. Oh yeah, definitely. That's stuff I look forward to. That's how I know I love what I do. That's how I know I love this channel and doing what I do here. Because uh, just the thought of doing that stuff excites me. Like I wish I could just not go to work anymore and just do this full time for a living. Dad, The Eagles song. You know that I'm sure you know already. But on there's a corner in downtown Winslow where there's like they painted that truck, a red truck, the red flatbed Ford or whatever, and with a girl in it. They painted like a mural right on a corner there downtown. You can go stand there and on the corner in Winslow, Arizona, uh, with a flatbed Ford with the girl waving to him. Next door to Evansville, okay? So I guess that's all like southeast Indiana, I guess, if I'm picturing all that right. Oh, you been to New Albany, Susie? That's cool. Yeah, that's where my stepdad's from. You talk about it all the time. And he has that, man, he has a thick Indiana accent even today. He hadn't lived there in 35 years, 40 years, he hadn't lived there. He talks about crossing the river. He'd say he'd cross the river and go hang out and all the concerts and stuff were in Louisville. So he'd go there for all that. Man, I don't have a boat yet, Judy, but I'll tell you what, that's on the list. It's not the first thing on the list, but it's on the list. I don't even need anything special, just one that gets me here and there. There's a few places though. A buddy of mine who's from Vermilion Parish, which is like right next to Lafayette Parish, and goes all the way down to the Gulf. He said there's a couple places that he'll take me on his boat to go see that are like historical significance. I'm not going to give them away here, but there are a couple of those that are on the docket so far. Got to know somebody with a boat. Yeah, definitely a different perspective though, for sure. Yeah, Bonnie and Clyde shootout spot. Yeah, that's. I'm sure you saw if you guys have watched Jordan do that one. I'm sure there's a couple other channels. Uh, Adam might have done that one too. That's a cool one though. That's on the list for sure. Ruston, I found out they just announced like a month or so ago. Ruston is getting, of all cities in Louisiana, they're getting Bucky's, not Lafayette, not Baton Rouge. God forbid have a Bucky's anywhere in South Louisiana. They're putting it way up in Ruston. If anybody knows, if you guys know where Ruston is, it's way out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know. There's one in Dallas right there. But yeah, there's a couple things in Ruston I want to go see. I'll probably go do La Tech too, Louisiana Tech. They have a really nice campus in history, that stadium with Terry Bradshaw and all that. But yeah, that Bonnie and Clyde shootout, there's some pretty surreal stuff on that display, on that tour. And it's like that whole area where you can go and visit assuming that that's in Ruston, we can go see like the articles and stuff that from them, like pieces of clothing they wore and all that stuff. I'm definitely gonna do that one. Yeah, Lake Martin, it's still Lake Martin. You can go see all the big alligators. There's like a 17, 18-foot alligator. That's they call them. I forgot what they call them. It was on Facebook or something the other day. Big old boy. He's like, they've accepted him as like the Lake Martin pet alligator, but he's gigantic. Yeah, full of wildlife out there. It hadn't changed much. They've improved it though. A lot of people kayak. A lot of my buddies kayaking friends that go and fish and kayak out there. Yeah, Gary Rust. Oh, man, Ruston. What goes through? I mean, there's a highway that goes through it because when I went to a photo booth event that I had in North Louisiana, like border up against Arkansas, way up there. They was called Marion or something like that. It's like a suburb of a suburb, and I drove through Ruston. So there's definitely a highway that goes through it, but it's not like a few years ago they're really close to putting one in Baton Rouge, and that fell through. And everybody said Lafayette would be perfect for it for one because it's such a crossroad. I mean, Lafayette's smack dab in between Houston and New Orleans, about 50-50. So it'd be a great place for it. You know, we have the land for it and stuff. I don't know why they wouldn't do that. I don't know why Ruston, because Ruston's not that far from Dallas, really. You know, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hour drive from Dallas. Do you think they put one down here? Because the closest one to us is dang near Houston, and then going the other way, the closest one is on the other side of Mobile. I think that's 3-4 hours away from us. So, oh wow, Judy, the only survivor of Bonnie and Clyde. I guess you mean the shootout. That'd be cool. Original local newspaper from that time. Man, I might have to get in touch with your stepmom to get some of that. That'd be cool to put on the video, huh? Newspaper clippings from that. I'm sure I can get that around. There's probably some of that in the museum, though. Probably wouldn't have to bother your stepmom. Oh, cool, Dad. I didn't know you guys did that as a Cub Scout 58 years ago. Yeah, Lake Martin's cool. That's a good idea. I'm glad you guys brought that up. I didn't really think about doing a vlog on Lake Martin, but I might do that. Maybe see about getting on a boat or a kayak or something. Go take a little venture out there and give you guys a little tour of that. That'd be fun. It's nice out there. It's beautiful, especially on a nice day. Hey, Luke. Is that Luke? That's not my nephew, Luke, is it? Yeah, I'll let you know, Judy. I don't, that's not. I'm not trying to bother your 80-year-old stepmom, but if and when I mean, I will do that vlog. But if I can't access, I'm sure there's all that stuff at the museum. Yeah, my dad said I'm old enough to have a son your age. Well, yeah, Luke's on, Dad. Your grandson, Luke. Luke's in Lafayette too. He's my nephew. He's my godchild, my godson. He just started driving. Cool. I got family and friends on here. Can't get any better than that. Do this all night. I got 9 people, so it is growing. Last time I only had like 5 or 6 people on. I got 9 right now, so channel's growing. Think about they hit 1,020. I think I'm at 1,019 subscribers right now, maybe 1,020. So it's growing and growing. Got people texting me. They're too shy to jump on the chat here, so they're texting me. 10, 11. Dang. Luke, what are you up to? Are you gaming right now? Hey, any guys watch the international baseball in Miami, like the whatever you call it, series or whatever, with Mexico and Japan, and then Japan and the U.S. Any of you guys watch that? I saw the highlights of the Japan USA game. It was close. They lost by like 1 run or something like that, 1 or 2 runs. That's where it's at, man. I thought that was more exciting than the World Series. This is more energy, the 2 countries playing each other and stuff like that. World Baseball Classic, yeah, that's what it's called. Thanks, Dad. It was awesome. I want to go see that one day. Like that, I'd love to go see a World Series game. I'm not a millionaire yet, so get a ticket for that, you know. But the international, what the World Baseball Classic, that's I want to go see that. That energy, even on TV, like on video, the energy just seemed like it was unreal and exciting to see. Oh, thanks, Susie. Susie, that's my first ever super chat. Thank you so much. First one ever. Thank you so much. Wish I could frame it like my first dollar earned, my first super chat. For those who don't know, what Susie just posted, that's a super chat. I'm sure you've seen them on other channels. So if you're probably wondering like, what's he talking about? Thank you so much. Going towards my camera. You guys are awesome. I love seeing. There's as a channel grows, there's more and more names that I see on every video. When I post a video, there's always the core group of people who post comments on my videos, and it's usually the same ones. But as the channel grows, that list gets bigger and bigger. And it's the same ones, so it's such a cool feeling. When I first started the channel in August, I was just like, man, it'd be cool to have like one person, like one regular, you know, and have way more than that now. So it's fun to watch this thing grow. Who do I think is the GOAT? You talking about basketball, Luke? You know my answer to that. I don't know how much time we have on that, but we can get into that debate if you want to. If you really want to go there. If you're talking about LeBron and Jordan, it's Jordan all day long. I'm waiting to see if he says if that's what he's talking about. LeBron doesn't have what Jordan has. He never did. He doesn't have the mentality Jordan has. LeBron's an athletic freak, and that's really all he has going for him. Thank you, Gary. Thank you so much, Gary. And thanks for the compliment. I'm glad to hear you like the channel. To me, it's what it's all about, building a community of friends and family, you know, and just having people that enjoy what I put out. That's really what it's all about. Even if I would have never got monetized, even if I would have had 15 subscribers, you know, I would have kept doing it anyway. I said that in the beginning, you know, I was telling my friend I want to do this. And I said back then, I was like, it's not about making money off of it. That's just a bonus. But I mean, to get paid for something you love doing, that's just, you know, it's a blessing. You know, you can't get any better than that. So, but I don't do it for that. I do it because I love doing it. I really do. So thanks for that. Means the world when you guys say stuff like that. I'll keep making them for sure. Definitely. Talking to you guys, I always get good ideas from talking to you guys. So there's a lot more to come. Many, many more. Well, thanks so much, Judy. Thanks again. Yeah, I try to do these live chats like at least every couple 2-3 weeks. Maybe if I can get to the point where I could add it to a regular schedule, like I can do it at the same time every week or something close to that, I'll do it. I kind of decided on a whim to do one today. I didn't have much going on this evening, so I was gonna go for a run and all that, but it started raining, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll do a live chat. It's been about 3-4 weeks. So, oh, and have a good night, by the way, Judy. You signing off? Have a great night. Yeah, Luke. Yeah, Jordan. People respect. I've heard it put pretty well by a few different commentators and stuff over this. I see it on YouTube, and I can't avoid them. But a lot of people have put it. They've said that players respect LeBron, but they feared Jordan. Like Michael Jordan had an assassin's mentality. People were terrified of him. And you can look at people, Gary Payton, all those guys, people who are monsters in the NBA, they were terrified of Jordan, even his own teammates. He just had that mindset. And LeBron may have gotten to that point over the last 10 years, 10, 20 years, how long he's been playing now. He might have developed that maturity and that assassin's mindset and that killer mindset and that just competitive, he might have developed that over the years, but Jordan came into the league with that back in 85, 84, 85. Jordan always had that. And I don't know. I don't see how there's really a debate between those two. I don't even think he's the second or third best. I really don't. I think just because you're an athletic freak doesn't make you the best at some sports, technical sport, something that takes the mindset and the leadership and all that stuff. I'm not hating on him. He's a good leader. I'm sure he makes people around him better, but he's not Michael Jordan. What's up, Johnny? I was just talking about you earlier. I was saying you're one of my I always see you in the comments, man. It's always good to hear from you. Johnny, for you guys, Johnny, I don't know if he's a writer or something, but man, his descriptions, his descriptions are really paint a picture for you. Like they really, I love reading his comments. Yeah, same here, Johnny. I hadn't watched it. I watched very few NBA games after Jordan retired. It hadn't been the same. To be honest, after he left the Bulls, I didn't even really watch him too much with the Wizards. I just didn't. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's because he wasn't in a Bulls uniform anymore. But after like 98, after he retired from the Bulls or left the Bulls or retired the second time or whatever, I kind of lost track. Still loved him. I didn't follow him as much. I think if he would have stayed with the Bulls, I would have been glued in just the same as always was before. But it's not the same league. The league is just it's too much of all the wrong things these days. The thing that blows my mind is that there's friends of mine who I grew up with, played in high school basketball with, grew up playing basketball with, watched the same games as I did on TV growing up with Jordan and all that stuff. And some of those same guys say that LeBron's the greatest. And I'm like, where did you fall off at? Like, we grew up watching the same stuff. Like, how could you watch the same stuff like I did and then fall off somewhere where you start thinking LeBron's the best? I don't get it. I don't know. I'm not hating on LeBron. It's just, I don't see it. I don't see and there's other people that'll say that too, like commentators and Hall of Famers and stuff. They just don't see it. They don't understand. I think it's just something that's I think it's suggestive thinking where so many people have started to say it over the years that they put it in people's minds and convince certain people that, yeah, he's the best. But I don't think there's a comparison. I'd put Kobe above LeBron any day for the same reasons I put Jordan over LeBron. It is a cool name, my dad. Yeah, Johnny Yuma's cool. When I first met him, I asked if he was from Yuma because I was stationed in Yuma. But your husband's smart, Susie. Most people who grew up watching Michael Jordan, or at least were old enough to watch Michael Jordan in his prime through the years, or I'd say the majority of those people are going to say Jordan's the best. Definitely better than LeBron. I mean, to see what he did, especially to see it live. Johnny, what if you feel like telling us? What's the history? Like, what's the meaning? Like, how did you come up with your name? Assuming Yuma is not really your real last name. Is it a clever thing you thought of, or is Susie said the same thing? Old TV show and song from Johnny Cash. Oh, that's cool. Love Johnny Cash. When I went to Nashville last year, I wasn't doing my blog yet, but I wanted to go. I went last April to Nashville to do an event for my photo booth, and I wanted to go see Johnny Cash's house that he has out there. But I was asking some of the locals, and they said, yeah, you can't see it from the highway. I don't even know if he was even available for tour or whatever. I think people might still be living there, something like along those lines. But I was kind of disappointed. I was like, man, I won't get to see the house out there. I love Johnny Cash though. Johnny Cash made an album right before he died, like in his last final couple of years or whatever. Forgot the name of the forgot the name of the album, but he made it with Rick Rubin, the producer Rick Rubin, who produced like legendary producer from like the Beastie Boys and all that stuff, and so many others, different types of music and genres. But he worked with Johnny Cash, and one of the songs that it was a bunch of covers. I think they're all covers, maybe except for one or two on that album. And one of the songs that Johnny covered was Rusty Cage by Soundgarden, and he did a great job of it, of course, because he's Johnny Cash. But Soundgarden's my favorite band of all time. So it was cool to hear him sing that song. Of course, he does it in a Johnny Cash way. Soundgarden's like heavy. It was like basically heavy metal, and then Johnny does it in this low, low tone, like real sullen way. But it's awesome. Simplify, Dad. Simplify, do or die. People calling me on my phone. Oh, cool, Susie. Your youngest grandson's middle name is Cash. That's a cool name. That it really is. I like it as a first name. I think that'd be a really cool first name. I've heard it before. I love the Walk the Line movie, man. It's so good. His life story and all that. Who's your how long ago, Johnny, when was your nephew, was he there recently? Or I was there from like 2000 until 2000, late '07, with a break, with a 1 year break in between all that. Well, 2 years, because one 8 month period I went to Iraq, and then I went to Japan for a year. But besides that, I was in Yuma. I wonder if he was there the same time I was. He really was, Susie. It's a great movie. You know what's funny too is I don't know if you guys like stupid funny movies, but that's like right up my alley. But Walk Hard, the parody movie, it's like loosely based on. I need to watch that. If you like stupid funny stuff like Will Ferrell and all that, go watch Walk Hard. It's actually made pretty well. It's uh, John C. Riley, the one who's like in Talladega Nights with in Step Brothers with Will Ferrell and stuff. It's a funny movie. It's so stupid, but it's so funny. The best live performance I've seen, Dad. Let's see. I know when I saw Leonard Skinner in 2004, that was one of the best for sure. The video display and just the performance and all that. I've always put that as my top one or two. Alice Cooper was great just because of the the stage theatrics and stuff. That was awesome. Uh, those two for sure. Ironically, and they're two classic rock. They just, most people don't do it like that anymore. Um, yeah, I mean, I've seen quite a few that were pretty good. Was yours is your favorite the Fats Domino one in the rain at Jazz Fest that you talked about? Yeah, yeah. My dad talking about. He says his favorite live performance is Fats Domino at Jazz Fest in the early '90s or something. He said he came out, sat at his piano and stuff, and he said it started pouring down rain, like it's pouring rain, and some people were skedaddling out and stuff, and some people stayed behind. But he's my dad said he just stayed at his piano, and it's like, oh, okay, well now it's really time to party. Let's keep on going. And my dad said it was just an amazing, listening to seeing Fats Domino live in person in the rain, pouring rain, just going at it on his piano. such an influential guy too. We are talking about that not long ago. Like, I mean, he influenced the Beatles. You know, like it. Uh, he's one of the pioneers for sure. I'm trying to think of some other great performances I saw live. Skinner was great. And that was in 2004 in California. Alice Cooper was in Yuma. Saw him in Yuma. That was a great show. Man, his theatrics are crazy. Uh, who else? Who else? Who else was really good that I saw? Of course, there's some bands. I've seen Incubus 5 times. They're always great. They're the kind of band that just they're so good they sound like you listen to the radio. You know, they're always great. Nothing like theatrical or not. There's no stage presence that's anything crazy exceptional, but they're just good. Man, I've been to a bunch. Yeah, those are the ones that stick out for sure. Oh, cool, Susie. Your husband played in local country bands for 20 years? Like local, like South Louisiana? Or like where you guys are now? Yeah, that's right, Dad. He did. Elvis did say that about Fats Domino. I remember Susie said that. I remember hearing that. The Beatles always said that about all the most of the black American artists, rock and roll. Uh, they're big Chuck Berry fans. They're big Fats Domino fans. Arthur Williams, I think Arthur Williams. They're big fans of him too. They got a lot from them. They got a lot of influence and stuff from the Beatles, from those artists. Yeah, my dad was a country music DJ in the 80s here in Lafayette, Louisiana. And that was like the golden age of country music, basically. He got to meet and see a ton of people, all the good ones. Indiana, Susie? Yeah, that's cool. I think everybody assumes that he was the most stoned, huh? Yeah, my dad got to MC Willie Nelson's concert here at the Cajun Dome. Like the first year it opened, Willie Nelson was here playing a show, and my dad got to MC that concert and announce him on stage and stuff. And he got to talk to him backstage, and he said, he asked me, he's like, Willie, you don't talk too much, do you? And he, in his Willie Nelson way, I guess he said, nah, they don't pay me to sit and talk. They just want to hear me play music. So. I think Willie's always stoned. He's like a functioning stoner now. I think if you saw him, if he wasn't stoned, you probably wouldn't know what to do with him. So what's keeping him alive, probably. I need to do something about this lighting in this room. There's not much natural light that I get in this living room, especially if it's dark or raining outside. I look blue right now. Got my LED, my blue hat, my blue shirt. Need to work on my lighting for sure. In the living room, obviously. Think about making my study room, which is next to my bedroom. Might make that more of my studio. I could work, have more of a set system of lighting and better lighting and stuff. I don't do. I mean, besides these, I don't ever use it for anything else. So, I mean, my channel consists of being outside basically. But I do story time too. So I might do that. I might do it. Maybe set up a green screen or something like that. Put a green screen up on the wall so I could do some story time with some background imaging or something cool like that for you guys. Because I want to start doing the story time more often. I'm just trying to incorporate things into like like a schedule, you know. Like right now, I'm trying to do twice a week my regular vlogs, like you see on the channel already. I've already implemented the story time. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm gonna really get it on a routine. Like if I do it every Sunday night or something like that, or might not even be once a week, might just be like a couple times a month or once a month. I don't know. Oh, thanks, Susie. Yeah, I don't think the lighting's bad on my face and all that. It's just in the background. It seems like it's so dreary back there. It's like I'm in a castle. Got my candle burning here, and my old Edison lamp back there, and this lamp here. With I mean, it just even with those two, they don't put out too much light. Willie's 89. Wow, I guess that's about right. He started in like the 50s, so it makes sense. I'd love to see him before he stops. I know he still does things here and there, so I wanted to see Johnny before he passed, but missed that one. Excuse me. Getting over a cold, so that's why my voice might sound kind of raspy, but I almost lost my voice over the weekend. It was weird. I don't know why. I don't know why I did that, but it wasn't even coughing a lot or anything. It must have been the mucus or something. All that delightful stuff, but just couldn't talk very loud. No, Dad, I didn't get to see the Beach Boys. Don't know if anybody in here ever saw them, but I never did. Yet I plan on it. I want to see him, but I want to see him with Brian Wilson. I don't want to see the Beach Boys without Brian Wilson because Brian Wilson is the Beach Boys. He's the only brother left. I think it's him. Mike Love's still on it. Obviously, Mike ain't going anywhere. Uh, Bruce still on it, and Al Jardine's still there. And Bruce isn't even one of the original ones, but he's been a Beach Boy for like almost 40 years now or something like that. So, but Carl passed, and I think Carl passed away in 2005 or something like that. 05 or 15. There's a 5 in there. On YouTube, Susie? Like he plays a show for YouTube, like a YouTube special, or what are you saying? Like just random footage on YouTube of concerts? I've seen him on. I saw footage of him playing on the what's that channel, that show called back in the 50s and stuff. It was black and white, and they had it all set up like an old country theme, like the little country props and stuff like that, and they go on stage and play. I saw Freddie Fender do a show on there. What's it called? I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Wasn't like the Grand Ole Opry. That's what I'm talking about. It was yeah. But I saw Willie play there. He's all clean cut. Like had a suit on, clean cut, looked like Johnny Cash in his early days. Of course, you see Willie now, and he's all dreadlocked, that long haired and all hippied out. But on that show, he wasn't like that. It's like when he was first starting out. His voice was still great, though. You could tell it's him because of his voice. Hee haw in the 50s, I guess. Yeah, they had like country. It was all props. It was on a stage where they had like country prop, like a barn prop in the back, and they had like country looking props to give it that feel. And then the country artist would go play. Loretta Young, Donna Douglas was on there. It was on for years though, like through the 70s and 80s and stuff like that. Yeah, Susie, for sure. Yeah, same voice, different look. You can close your eyes and you can tell it's Willie. Nobody sounds like Willie. Oh, cool, Johnny. Yeah, he was in way after me then. But he was most likely in the Air Wing though, if he was in Pensacola and Yuma. I was in Pensacola also. I went to my MOS. My first MOS school was in Pensacola when I was in air traffic control. It was cool because I got to see the Blue Angels every day where they parked them. You see them taxiing around, see them flying every day too. It was cool. Cool place to be. NAS Pensacola. Oh, 60s and 70s, Dad? Yeah. That's probably what I'm thinking of. It might not be footage from the 80s. Wish they made shows like that. Revamp a show similar to that. That'd be cool, huh? Yeah, Dad. Dennis Wilson? Yeah. That is a crazy story. But even the Beach Boys thought he was nut. Charlie was nuts back then. So, but some speculate that that's what he wanted to do, and the reason he kind of further went off the rail with his, murdering and all that stuff is because he didn't. The music thing didn't work out. Yeah, Susie, like I said, I saw Willie on there. This is all footage, of course. Uh, I saw Freddie Fender on there. Donna Douglas, I'm pretty sure. When I was doing the Donna Douglas vlog, did some research. I'm pretty sure I saw her on that show. It might have been a different show, but it was similar. If it wasn't that show, it was something very similar. Yeah, cool. Yeah, MOS was in electronics. Yeah, probably aviation electronics. Probably if you, like I said, if he was in Yuma and stuff, and Pensacola is all aviation based mostly. My mom did that. She was in aviation electronics, but she was in the Marines. I mean, it could have been. Whew, I mean, if he was in aviation electronics, he's probably working on, aircraft parts, aviation like aircraft electronics and stuff. But I don't know. I mean, electronics is a pretty vast field, so it's definitely like aviation based for sure. Oh yeah, Susie. I was just talking about that. I was saying, I like doing the live. This is only my second live stream, so uh, like with everything else, I try to do for the longest time. I was trying to post every Tuesday and no, every Monday and Thursday for my vlogs twice a week. And then over time, as it evolves, I'm kind of finding what works best and trying different things. Like I'm trying, um, like Tuesday, Saturday, Monday, Friday, excuse me, something like that. So I like to get everything, especially as the channel grows and I'll start being able to do more and travel more and all that stuff. The more of a routine I have, the easier things are going to be on me. So I'm trying to get that habit now. So as it gets bigger and bigger, I can add more things. I could add more live streams. I could add more story times. So, along with what I was saying about the story times, I like to get the story times. Nothing has to be on a specific like scheduled date, like way ahead of time, but at least get a feel for like, okay, I'm going to do it. My story, like whatever works, like whatever people respond to the best, you know, stuff like that. Like if I find over time, if I feel like people are respond or people are more available at a certain day and time to do live streams, I'll probably try to do them on that. It won't always be that because sometimes I was doing impromptu live stream, like most channels do. Just kind of like oh hey, I wanted to talk about this. I want to see you guys to say hi. So jump on kind of thing and be surprised, kind of like the first one. But I'm going to do my best to get everything on somewhat of a schedule, somewhat of a routine. And that's just growing pains. It's going to be like, okay, what works the best and what do I like to do? Because I still got a full time job I got to do on top of this. And sometimes I work my photo booth business when I have events for that. So hopefully one day I can grow this thing, if I can keep the integrity of the channel up and keep it honest and keep it going and consistency and all that. And if it could be something I could actually do full time, that would be a dream come true, first of all. But then I could really evolve this into something big and something that I could really focus on and have routines on and schedules for certain things. And because it's good for the viewers too. It's good for you guys to know what to expect, you know? You'll see my, I just noticed that my blow up nutcracker right there that I got for Christmas from my office. I was about to deflate it. And my boss is walking by my office and he's like, "Why don't you bring it home so your kids to play with?" And I was like, "That's a great idea." And sure enough, they loved it. So I keep it here. They aptly named him Mr. Nutty. So he just sits here in my living room. People come over, they're like, what is that?" It looks like it, at first glance, it looks like it'd be a clown or something. Not the tone. Look, it's a nutcracker. The only Christmas thing I still have up. Everything else is taken down and put in the closet. I just, I keep that for my kids when they come over. Yeah, the wood ones are cool, man. You go to Costco, Johnny? Those big giant ones they have, you can put in your front door. They're like 7 foot, 6, 7 foot nutcrackers. Like, as big as me. I never had nutcrackers. Never owned a nutcracker in my life. I think I have a couple ornaments, like nutcracker ornaments that technically work. Like you could technically crack nuts with them, but you know, I don't want to break them because they're Christmas ornaments. But Susie, is that Petersburg? Petersburg, Lafayette, Indiana. It's funny because when I went to Fairmount, Susie, when I went to Fairmount, Indiana, there's a sign at a crossroad, like right when you're getting into Fairmount. In fact, it's like the sign that I saw was like maybe 100 yards or so from the big James Dean, uh, whatever you call it, prop thing they have at the intersection of the movie, from the Rebel Without a Cause movie. It's like when you get into Fairmount, it's like the big James Dean mural prop thing, whatever. But there's a sign like right in, when you get to the T in the road. It's like an old, like a movie you see like in the middle of the Midwest, typical Midwest. There's a little sign, just a little basic sign, and it says Lafayette and Fairmount, which to me was cool because I drove from Lafayette to Fairmount. I told my, I was like, I wanted to steal that. Oh, the small, yeah. I figured that's what you're talking about, Johnny, like a regular size nutcracker. I don't think I've ever actually used a nutcracker to crack nuts before. I don't think. I don't think I ever did. Never really needed to. Got the little metal thing, the metal pecan. Living down here, you know, crack pecans. The cool part about Lafayette, Indiana, because I've heard it pronounced from people up there, it sounds like they also say Lafayette. They don't seem to say Lafayette. It seemed like they called it Lafayette also, maybe with a little bit of twang difference. But the other Lafayettes around the country seem to be like Lafayette or whatever. I'm still getting text messages. People who people who don't want to be on the live stream. Friends of mine. It's like, dude, just jump on the live stream. Doing a live stream. Yeah, pronunciation. Yeah, there's one in California. There's one in Indiana, Lafayette. I mean Louisiana. Uh, where else? I'm missing one. Maybe Georgia, something like that. They all say Lafayette, which makes sense, but it's weird to hear it like that. Yeah, I think it's Georgia too. Lafayette, Georgia, Lafayette or something like Lafayette. Nine people. Man, this is awesome. Oh, cool. With that, was that for DirecTV or Sears? I'm sure Sears is everywhere. So DirecTV. Indianapolis is cool. I mean, I drove through it on the way to Fairmount in the middle of the night. It must have been around 11 o'clock at night. I drove right in front of Lucas Oil Stadium and all that. Got to kind of drive through basically downtown Indianapolis. I wish I could have spent time there during the daytime and all that and experienced it. One of those places I'm gonna have to go back. And when I drive back to Fairmount, I want to take a much longer vacation because when I went to Fairmount the first time, it was during hurricane relief, right after Laura and all that hit down here. They hit back to back, Laura and whatever the other one's name was, and Ida. And so my bosses were like, "You got like 3 days, 4 days you can take tops." And so it was a rush trip. You believe it or not, I drove to Fairmount, Indiana, and back in 4 days, and I went to my cousin's wedding in Findlay, Ohio. But this time, fingers crossed, there's no hurricanes to assess and all that crap. But I want to go for like a 6-7 days because it's so cheap. My bed and breakfast was $100 a night. Gas was decently priced at that time, but that's really where all my money went. I mean, it's not like Vegas or anything. So I want to go and take more time. I want to stop and see things along the way, like the Bourbon Trail and all that stuff, like the Kentucky bourbons and whiskeys and all that places in Kentucky on the way back. I want to stop and see Graceland again and take my time and not rush through it. I want to go see some things in Memphis. But anyway, so my point is that I want to go see. I like Indianapolis. Not that I need to go spend a whole ton of time in Indianapolis, in and of itself, but just during that trip, I like to maybe stop there and spend an hour or two or something, just kind of driving around. You guys are talking about monuments in Indianapolis. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to go check those out now. That's the beauty of having a channel like this too. Is I mean, there's so much out. There's no shortage of things to vlog. Some people call that job security. What are some of the monuments in Indianapolis? Like to name a few. Oh, thanks for chatting, Dad. Love you guys. Y'all have a great night. It was fun. I'll let you know when I'm doing the next one. I think my dad made more friends on this chat than I did. You'll meet him. You'll see him on my vlogs sooner or later. He'll be on there. He'll be on some vlogs with me. He's an entertainer. He's got the gift of gab. If I have any sense of presentation or whatever, it's nothing. It's not as good as him. He's good. He's got that presentation voice and that presence, but he did motivational speaking. He was on the radio for years. So he's really good at it. You signing off too, Susie? I guess we've been going an hour and 36 minutes, 37 minutes almost. So I guess it's about time we could wrap it up, I guess. It's fun talking to you guys. So I only do these like once a month so far. Like I said, it's only my second one. So we can try to do these about, once a month. We'll see how it goes. Might try to do like 2 a month or something like that. Sometimes it'll be like a certain, I'll have a thing in mind that I'd like, I'll bring up or talk about. And that goes with the channel growing, something that you guys will be more familiar with the channel and can actually discuss with me and stuff. But there'll be many different topics. And sometimes it'll just be like this one and the first one where it's just like, hey, what are y'all up to? Like, let's chat and let's catch up. Yeah, I feel you guys. Yeah, it's yeah, it's 8 o'clock. Holy cow. It's 8 o'clock here. So yeah, let's go ahead and we'll wrap it up. And then you guys can always communicate through the comments and the videos and stuff and anything. And if y'all ever want to exchange emails or something, feel free to leave your email in the comments or something like that or wherever. I think you can message me in there if you like. And we'll keep in touch soon. But good night, Susie. Good night, Gary. Good night, Brian. I enjoyed it too, Brian. Thanks so much, man. I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoy these. And thank you, Gary. Appreciate it. So yeah, I guess we'll sign off now. Minute 39 almost. And so we'll go ahead and say goodnight. And you guys have a great night. All the many places you guys are. So good night, Kathy. You just jumping on now, Kathy? She's another one of my regulars. Miss you the whole chat. You need to chime in earlier next time, Kathy. We'll talk to you. Yeah, good seeing you guys. I'll go ahead and hang out now. Love y'all. Good night.